Showtime is here, no time to fear. Carell is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Carell is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
Welcome to the Carell Show. From Sierra Leone to Sri Lanka, Uganda to the USA. Here we are for another week. And boy, the GOP not doing so well. Dropping like flies. We're going to talk about it and so much more. It is the Carell Show. I am Carell. So very glad you are joining me on this whirlwind cavalcade of a Monday. Monday being the day of the moon. That's why it's named that way, which is why in Espanol it's lunes. The day of the moon. Yes, the moon. And the Norse god Mani, which was the god of the moon. So hope you're having a good moon day. And glad you are here joining us. We've got a lot to talk about today. As I said, from Sierra Leone to Sri Lanka, from Uruguay to the United States. And those are all places that we're charting, by the way. Sierra Leone, who knew? We're charting. And we've been charting for a week in Sierra Leone. I don't know who lives there or why you're listening to me, but hello. We're charting in Ukraine. We're charting in a lot of places. Uruguay. We're number 240 in the United States. So hello, everybody. So glad you are here with me today. Don't be shocked at some of the things I say. It's only talk radio, so don't be panic-stricken. All right, we do have a lot to talk about, but before I do, there has been a lot of speculation, so I just wanted to tell you all, here we go. As you can see, I am doing fine. I am fully recovering. I am fully recuperating. In fact, right before this photo was taken, I spoke to Lindsey Graham for 20 minutes, and he was just fine. So I don't know what else is going on in the world, but here I am, and I hope that you're all having a great time, because here I am in full recovery. Just as you can see, just in full recovery, with my adoring Elizabeth Cho right by my side, or whoever that is. I forget her name. But there I am. I know, I kid, right? But you got to. I mean, the GOP, they're dropping like flies. And, they're old white people. So, yeah, a little scary. I will say Mitch McConnell. Not Mitch McConnell. I get them confused because they're old white guys with waddles, which I guess I am. But 71 for, what's his name? The closeted one who has caused Grindr's stock to crash, and many a male escort in Washington, D.C. now fears recession. That, of course, is Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham passed away over the weekend. They're saying the preliminary autopsy, which was done on the way to the hospital, obviously, they did not even need to get him there to do obviously they cut him up in the back of the ambulance, because the autopsy results came out 22 minutes after he died. And so, there's that. But the preliminary autopsy says aortic tear brought around by an aortic aneurysm, which I have, and which I find... All right, I'm just going to say it. I don't buy the story for a frickin' minute, okay? I'm just going to say it. I know, but come on. You go to the Ukraine. You start talking about sanctions against China, India, and anyone else that's going to be buying Russian oil, which will piss off China and Russia. And the day that when he was at the airport, the BBC caught up with him at the airport on the way home, and he was touting this bill that was going to vote to put sanctions on anyone buying cheap Russian oil so they could help Ukraine. And not more than 24 hours after he talks about a bill for cheap Russian oil and all of that, I'm sorry, a bill to block cheap Russian oil, to curtail Russia's income by making it harder for them to sell their oil. So something Vladimir Putin not happy about. After he does that, 24 hours later, he's dead from an aorta that never got diagnosed. He sees a cardiologist. he had atherosclerotic heart disease. His heart has had, and I guarantee you, he's had an echocardiogram. I guarantee you, he's had a chest x-ray and a CT. They would have seen the aortic aneurysm. They would have seen it. Aortas just don't tear. They get bigger first. I know. Mine is tested every year. I have aortic ectasia. So, I'm not buying it. His aorta would have been being watched. But it wasn't. And he pronounces that he's going to punish Russia for Ukraine. And he suddenly dies. Okay. Yeah, no, I believe it's all natural. I believe it. Nothing to see here.
If
I
you're
fully
not
believe
visiting reallycorrell.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallycorrell.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Corel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Corel is the one that you need to know.
Am I just too jaded these days? Because I don't believe any of this crap. Okay? I don't believe it. I don't believe that Lindsey Graham went on this big trip, came home, and just suddenly died of an aortic tear that went undiagnosed. I don't believe it. And he was planning on making legislation against Russia and against China. And then suddenly he drops dead. I don't buy it. I guess that's what modern day life has. It's made me jaded. Because I don't buy it. And you know what else I don't buy in the media right now? This. I don't buy this. Now, granted, that's an AI created image that I put me in, in the Mitch McConnell photo. And who wears that outfit in the hospital? Okay? And who wears that outfit, period? That shirt went out in 1957. And he's holding a newspaper from Sunday like it's proof of life. Like they do for prisoners. If AI created the photo that you're looking at right now, and it did, and you can't tell that's fake, that looks like I'm in the hospital with Elaine Chao next to me. You cannot tell that's fake. So is the photo of the real Mitch McConnell in the hospital there in the bed, is it AI? Until I see video of him speaking, I don't believe it. I think it's Weekend at Bernie's. I think he has popped up. And, yesterday I was having lunch at Resort World, which was a lovely brunch at Crossroads Kitchen. Just so lovely. But they got to change their menu because now I can't go. I've gone once a month for 2 months, and it's the exact same menu. And while the potatoes are great and the vegan fried chicken is great and the pasta is great and all that, they got to change their brunch menu. But anyway, it was horrible driving to and from. It was horrible. It was 108 on a motorcycle because my car is still in the shop, and now they want $400 more to replace more parts, but they're not charging me labor. They're doing me this big favor. Oh, well, we could be charging $2,000 labor. You already have. But anyway, not going to get into it. But anyway, so brunch was great. It was. But the drive home was horrible and really made me want to move out of Las Vegas. But as my friend said, to where? It's 100 in France. It's 100 in the UK. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But I don't buy it. Because this party would do anything. Okay? They really would. And, everyone's, Lindsey Graham, and what really bothers me when evil people die? We have to be nice about it. When Robert Mueller died, the seated president said he was glad he died. But somehow him and his ilk want us to rise above that when Lindsey Graham dies. First of all, I don't believe he died of natural causes. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. I have friends in the military saying that. I don't believe he died of natural causes. Second of all, Mitch McConnell, I think that's AI. And yesterday at the restaurant, when I was speaking, I talk to people during brunch because I'm bored and I'm alone. So I talk to people, which you should talk to strangers. And then they're not strangers anymore. A lovely couple across from me who I told them to get the potatoes, and they did, and the tiramisu, and they did. I referenced Weekend at Bernie's, and he laughed. He said, I was thinking the same thing. And for those of you that don't know the reference, it's about a movie where these two guys take around Bernie, a dead guy, so they can have a great weekend and, not tell anybody that he has died. And ultimately, an assassin is chasing him and ends up killing him twice. It's a comedy. But they literally cart around a dead guy, for the whole movie, make him wave, make him, the whole thing. And so I fully believe that until I see Mitch McConnell, and even then, because AI videos, we just don't know anymore. They now have 2 empty seats, the Republicans. They got a problem. Mitch ain't there voting, and Lindsey, he gone. He's voting on nothing. Now, first of all, I really felt when I first heard the news, I really felt, I don't want to say sad because he was an evil guy, but 71 years old. I just thought that's too young. And then Sam Neill died today at 78. Too young. I'm 63. That's too young to be dropping dead. So mortality has really been on my mind because of these two stories, because of Lindsey Graham and Sam Neill, both dying in their 70s, one early 70s, one later 70s. But second of all, Lindsey Graham was a self-loathing homosexual, in my opinion. It is my opinion that he was gay, and it is my opinion that he legislated against his own people. That means he loses it for me. All credibility, he's self-loathing. And there have been many accounts of male escorts who have recounted times with him. I am not making an unfounded allegation. Most everyone, Laura Loomer and all these right-wingers, they already said they knew he was gay. And by the way, no wife, no housekeeper. Who called the ambulance? Do we know? He's not married. The housekeeper wasn't there. Who called the ambulance? Should we check his grinder? But anyway. So I don't believe him. I don't believe the story around Lindsey Graham, and I certainly don't believe what's going on with Mitch McConnell. I think that photo was AI. I fully do. He's holding the Sunday sports section of the New York Post. They could have put that in there. Until I see him speaking and interacting with people back and forth to where there's somebody else in the room. And now we're supposed to believe he's leaving the hospital and going to rehab. Where's the images? Where's the images of him leaving the hospital? I mean, come on, people. This is the party of dirty tricks. And why doesn't he just resign? You know what? If he had any other job, his boss would say, I'm sorry, but if you're going to be in the hospital for an extended period of time, you're going to have to go on unemployment. And Mitch McConnell should be forced to resign and go on unemployment, just like you or I would. Or disability. Mitch McConnell should have to go on disability like you or I if we were in this situation. He should be fired from the Senate for not showing up to work and then have to go on disability. But these people don't live in our world. They don't have to do the things that we would have to do in this case. So he gets to and he's collecting a check every week from the U.S. Senate. I'm not sure how much he makes a month. I'm sure it's quite I'm sure he's costing us a whole lot of money. Truly. I bet he is. And people are like, who wears that shirt in the hospital? Someone from 1950s Arkansas? That's who wears that. You and I would not wear that. That's not hospital wear. I mean, he literally looks like what's his name from Toy Story? If he just put a little vest on, Woody. He looks like Woody from Toy Story. He just needs a little vest. That's all. Just a little brown vest, and he would look like Woody from Toy Story. And he's just as much alive as Woody from Toy Story, if you ask me. So yeah. So that's here we are, people. We have Lindsey Graham, and he's being eulogized. Cory Booker. went on. This is why Democrats lose and why I can't stand them, FYI. Cory Booker did this eulogy to Lindsey Graham. Oh, when I first got here, he was kind to me. And while I disagreed with him on policy, blah. Fuck that. Disagreed with him on policy. That's like a Jew saying I disagreed with Hitler on his policies. These aren't policies. These are oppression, discriminatory, destruction of America kind of stuff. Donald Trump now today has to go get a tattoo of Lindsey Graham's lips on his ass because they won't be there in person anymore. So now he has to go get a tattoo. I believe once Lindsey died, they took an impression of his lips so Donald can have that tattooed on his ass because he's going to miss Lindsey's lips being there. You know, if you don't want to be talked about like a dog when you die, guess what? Well, not a dog. Dogs are beautiful. If you don't want to be talked about like a despot when you die, guess what? Live a better life. If you don't want people making fun of you when you die, calling you names and rejoicing in your death, live a better life. The fact that people are joyous because Lindsey Graham died means he lived a shit life. Live a better life. Be a better person. People won't rejoice when you die. We are not going to be happy when Dolly Parton dies. Oh, just a thought. We were grief-stricken when the world lost Betty White. Be a good person. People aren't going to rejoice in your death. Be Ronald Reagan or Lindsey Graham or Donald Trump, and people will be rooting for it because you're a shit human being. So he went on my bingo card to die. I didn't, But the fact that he did die, I don't care. That's one less Trump supporter as far as I'm concerned. One less cult member with power. He was a cult member with power. And so as far as I'm concerned, it's no big loss to the world. He was an evil guy. He supported evil policies. He supported an evil president, and he had no morals. Lindsey Graham had no morals. In 2016, he said that Donald Trump was the second coming of the Antichrist. He said the world would be terrible if Donald Trump were to become president. Called him everything but a white woman. And then once Donald Trump won the presidency, he was so far up his ass he could see his prostate, which is something that, Lindsey would like. So, yeah, no. I won't speak well of him today. I won't say, yes, but he did do this or he did do... No. I'm glad he's gone. I'm sure he went to hell, if there was one. And I just hope that the people of South Carolina, or wherever he's from... Wait, is Mitch South Carolina? Where's Lindsey? Arkansas? Oh, some backwards red state. I'm not happy he's gone. I'm not sad he's gone. I'm ambivalent about it. I really am. I know I just said I'm glad he's gone. I'm not glad. I don't care. I really don't care. I mean, oh, good. An empty seat. Maybe they'll fill it with someone with a conscience. Fill it with someone with morals. Even if it is a Republican, maybe it'll be a Republican that wants to actually stand up to Donald Trump. We don't know. But I don't care that he dropped dead. Let's just hope a better person takes his place. And as for Mitch, I'm not sure when he dropped dead, but I'm pretty sure he's not in this plane of consciousness. Because, it was a fall. They found absolutely nothing wrong with me. He's got about 100 things wrong with him. He zones out. I'm sure he has cardiac issues. This notion, they've done every test and they can't find anything wrong. Oh, well, he's the picture of health. Let him get up and jog around the block. And I know the photo, excuse me, I know the photo is AI because he looks about 20 years younger. You don't look that way after 4 weeks in the hospital. You look thinner, tired because you cannot sleep. You don't look like you've been at a spa vacation in your little Toy Story Woody shirt. It's just tragic. South Carolina, thank you. Mitch is South Carolina, and Lindsey is, I don't know where. I have no idea. So let's just hope that better people occupy both those seats once they're, well, one's officially vacant. Do y'all think that Lindsey died of natural causes? What do you think? Do you think so? I don't think so. I don't. I think he went over there to Ukraine. He pledged help for Zelensky. They wanted to punish Vladimir Putin by putting tariffs on any country that buys cheap Russian oil. That included China. So he pissed off Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping in one fell swoop, came home, and died. Do any of you find that normal? I don't. I don't. Now, maybe I'm just too much of a conspiracy theorist nowadays, but it just seems too convenient. As the church lady would say, how convenient. Oh, so he drops dead and they don't have the vote now? How convenient. The same with Mitch. Mitch is Kentucky, Graham is South Carolina. Thank you. Thank you, James. I can't keep track of where these bigots are from. I just know they ain't from here or California. All right, more when we return on this sad, sad day. Or is it?
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
So yesterday at the Crossroads Kitchen, I was like, no parsley on my stuff, please. And they're like, why not? And I said, because the Cyclospora can be on parsley. And I love their vegan Caesar salad there, but I didn't have it because I don't know where their lettuce came from. I don't know if they use a salad mix. So nope. And I noticed that nobody was paying attention. People were eating the salad. They were eating the strawberries, eating the raspberries. I'm like, whoa, hello, Cyclospora. So I'm asking y'all to be careful. I know I'm listened to across the United States, from San Francisco to Seattle to New York to Florida to Texas and the Carolinas and Virginias and Pennsylvanias and all of that. So please, no raw leafy greens. And look, I'm a vegan, so this is hard on me. No raw leafy greens. No salads. None. Okay, first of all. Cook all of your leafy greens, your spinach, your bok choy, your kale. Cook it all. Number 2, for fruits, right now, stay away from raspberries and strawberries in particular because they have that hairy stuff that can hold on to the parasite. So stay away from strawberries and raspberries. No basil leaves. Don't eat anything that has fresh basil leaves. None. Just don't. You do not want explosive diarrhea for 2 weeks. So no basil leaves, no parsley, no lettuce or salad mix. Washing doesn't help. You got to cook it. If you want to have raspberries, cook them. Make a sauce, make it something, make a jam, whatever. But no raw, okay? Wash your melons, wash your kiwis. It hasn't really been found on those yet, but wash them and do your best. Boiling water over the outside of your apples. All of these precautions. Cyclospora is no joke. And isn't it funny that the area of the CDC that was supposed to keep track of Cyclospora was shut down by the seated U.S. president and RFK Jr.? Isn't that something? So we shut down that division, and now we have more cases than we've had in the last 10 years. The number of cases that we have now that are new are more than the amount of cases we've had in the last 10 years. Yeah. So stay away from it. Isn't that special? So stay away from it. How convenient. So stay away from raw lettuce, raw spinach, or any raw leafy green. Stay away from fruits like raspberries and strawberries. If you must eat strawberries, then soak them for 2 minutes in a 1-part vinegar, 3-part water, and then salad spin them. Spin them. It helps get them off. And then dry them thoroughly. And then put them in the refrigerator. Remember, any tools you use to wash the fruits and vegetables, you must not cross-contaminate. And scalding water on those to burn those little bastards. Because you don't want to be eating parasite eggs. Okay, so it's real. It's taking the nation by storm, literally by shitstorm. There is a shitstorm happening in the USA, and it's Cyclospora. So be vigilant. And when you go out, no salads. Don't trust the restaurant. Don't do it. No salads. I know that's hard. I'm a vegan. I'm telling you. I know it's hard for me too. But all cooked fruits and vegetables. If you eat raw fruit, make them smooth. Blueberries, bananas, melons, kiwi, apples. And be sure you wash and scrub the outsides and use hot water or vinegar. And you should be okay. Should be. I'm not saying you're going to be. I'm just saying you should be. Because this is real. And you know what? Older people, they could die from this. No one has, but you can. I mean, if you get too dehydrated and you're too old, and that's it, you're out of there. So, take it seriously. My friend Steve, yesterday I was talking to him. He goes, well, I eat the bag stuff. And I'm all, stop. Well, no, it's not, stop. Don't eat it. Don't eat the bag Caesar salad. Don't eat the bag salad mix. I don't eat that anyway. I don't know why people buy the bags of salad mix. I really don't. Just buy a head of romaine lettuce and a head of cabbage and make your own. But not right now. No lettuce. None. Don't do it. Yes, I know. Mitch is the senator from Kentucky. I now know this. And then Lindsey Graham is South Carolina. I get it. Kentucky, South Carolina. 2 places I don't ever need to be. Like ever. I looked at the capital of Vermont. I don't know why Vermont was named one of the great places in the U.S. to live. And I looked at the capital and I thought, could I live there? I mean, it looks gorgeous. And their south end is so cool and just looks like a neat place, the capital of Vermont. And it's on the ocean. And in the fall, it's beautiful. Of course, in the winter. But it's a beautiful place. Beautiful. I should go. I need money because I would love to go do the show from there in August in Vermont. And I think that New York is just a 2 or 3 hour train ride from Vermont. It's not that bad. So yeah, I'd love it just to visit. I've never been really. So, yeah. You do not need to throw out the watermelon or the strawberries that you just bought. Just listen to what I just said. All right, take the strawberries, put them in 1 part vinegar, 3 part water, wash them, and then spin them and dry them. You are taking a risk, but if you do what I just said, you'll decrease the risk. Cyclospora parasite eggs do not come off easily. They stick. So vinegar kills other things, but just 1 part vinegar, 3 parts water, wash the strawberries for up to 2 minutes, and then spin them in a salad spinner because that spinning will take some of the things off too, and then towel dry them. As for a watermelon, scrub the outside of the melon with a brush and a water or a distilled vinegar mix. And then when you cut it, sterilize the knife afterwards and don't reuse it. So no, you don't have to throw it away. But clean it, and clean it well, and know that you're taking a risk. Watermelons, strawberries, they're very well, they're handled. This is coming from humans. This is coming from fecal matter that is either transferred when they pick the fruit or when they irrigate it in the irrigation water, on the pipes. But this is human crap that's causing this. Isn't that pleasant? Thousands of cases of a parasite carried through human crap, which is now put on our food. And the CDC has nothing to stop it. Isn't that just great? Don't even know where it's coming from. Can't find out because they closed the division that deals with it. Thanks, Donald Trump. Yep. What does he care? He has the shits all the time. So what does he care if we all have his diarrhea?
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Corralcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Corralcast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Corralcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Corralcast, driving you home or driving you crazy.
So we have a literal shitstorm sweeping America. We don't know the source, so they can't contain it. If you have grapes, cherries, smooth things, that's better, okay, because there's nothing for it to stick to. Okay, so those are better. But again, wash them, okay? 1 part vinegar, 3 part water, salad spinner. Every doctor I've seen online says salad spinner. Buy one. If you don't have one, get one from Amazon. They can deliver in a day. Salad spinner. Put the water in the salad spinner with the fruit, let it sit in the vinegar, and then spin it while you rinse it with fresh water. Towel dry the cherries, towel dry the grapes, put them in the refrigerator. But you have to clean everything now, like there's a toxin on it, because there is. However, smooth fruit, cherries, grapes, blueberries, those sorts of things, they're not as bad as raspberries, strawberries, things that have places that the parasite, the Cyclospora eggs, because these are the eggs you're eating. So you eat the eggs, and this parasite relies on us, by the way. This parasite is not new. We have hundreds of cases of this a year, total, okay? Hundreds of cases total per year in the whole United States. Not thousands of cases, hundreds of cases total. Now we have thousands of cases. They don't know where it's coming from, and the Trump administration has gutted the agencies that would track it down. Thank you, RFK Jr. and Donald Trump, who are both full of shit, by the way. So wash your cherries, wash your grapes, wash your melons. I know most of you don't usually do that. But like a cantaloupe on the outside has lots of places where the Cyclospora eggs could get into the crevices. Wash it with a brush. Vinegar and water and a brush. Wash the outside of your melon before you cut it. Because by cutting it, if the parasite's on the outside and you cut it with a knife, that knife is taking the parasite's eggs onto the inside. Wash it. Okay? No green leafy vegetables that aren't cooked. Kale, spinach, no lettuce. I'm sorry, right now, give up the lettuce. No romaine, no butter lettuce, none of it. Unless you grew it in your yard. Just don't. Don't do it. All right. That's not a tumor. White vinegar, yes, is what you use. White vinegar and 3 parts water. So basically, 4 cups, if you have a big salad spinner, you're going to do 2 cups of vinegar and 6 cups of water for a total of 8 cups of liquid. You can use the liquid over, for all your fruits and vegetables, and a brush. And I know you don't want to brush each cherry. I mean, who does? But you'd be better to do that. Take each cherry, brush it off. Each cherry, brush it off. I mean, it's up to you. You won't die from Cyclospora if you're relatively healthy. You'll just shit for 2 weeks. You'll be prepping for a colonoscopy for 2 weeks. So if you do get the Cyclospora, schedule a colonoscopy because, might as well take advantage of it. But that's where we're at. And RFK Jr. and the CDC are of no help because they literally closed the division that tests, monitors, and traces Cyclospora. Isn't that something? And no one's blaming Trump for this, but it's his fault. Now, we've got 2 more things I want to talk about today. One was terrifying, and the other is the war. We're back at war. We are back at war. He said the ceasefire is over. He's trying to collect 20% fees from anybody using the Strait of Hormuz, and he says that he'll help them through. But the military, the Navy, is doing a blockade. Nothing's getting through to Iran. We're back at war. It's an unending war, and it's cost us almost $200 billion with a B. So I don't want to hear about how we don't have any money for anything. Okay? Because we do. We could solve the homeless crisis. We could have better education. We could have universal health care. We could have whatever we want. Because every time there's a war, we seem to just print up as much money as we need. When is this going to end? How is this going to end? I think I know. And I think I'll share it with you when we come back. So don't go anywhere.
If you're not visiting reallycorrell.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes, at reallycorrell.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Corel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Corel is the one that you need to know.
Okay, back to the Cyclospora. No one has died from it so far. There have been over 100 hospitalizations. If you're older and you get explosive diarrhea, you're going to get dehydrated and you're going to need to go in the hospital. So could it send you to the hospital? Yes. Is there a treatment? Absolutely. Bactrim. Bactrim. It is an antibiotic with sulfa in it, and it interrupts their reproductive cycle. Because you're eating the eggs, and then the eggs hatch, and then the eggs, the little hatchlings, frolic for 2 weeks in your body, and then find their way into your large intestine and come out in your poop. And guess what? They do it all over again. That's how this happens. This parasite relies on people eating it and pooping it out. That it relies on it. That's its life. Much like anyone in Washington, D.C. right now, it spends its life mired in shit because that's its life. It is born out of poop. It thrives in poop. It transmits in poop. That's its life. And so you got it. And once it's on the fruits or vegetables, and by the way, you can eat a small amount of it, not get it. You can eat a small amount of it and just get a day's worth of diarrhea, and that's it. And it's self-limiting in most people. You will get it, and then it'll go away. Now, the bad news is you can get it for a couple weeks, it goes away, and then it comes back. Because there were more little eggs in your body. Because you're a little hatchery at that point. So if you do get explosive diarrhea that lasts longer than 24 hours, go to urgent care, request a test. They have to do a special test for it. And if you have it, take the Bactrim. It'll cut it down from 2 weeks to anywhere from 2 to 4 days. So take the Bactrim if you can take sulfa drugs. If not, there's another one, Cipro. Bactrim and Cipro are both antibiotics that will help. So there's help. There is a treatment, but it's going to be uncomfortable no matter what. And if you're older, hydrate. So not normally fatal, can go away and come back. There is a treatment, Bactrim and Cipro. And the foods to avoid, lettuce, any leafy green that's not cooked. Any raw leafy green, don't eat it. No matter how well you've washed it, don't eat it. And right now, raspberries, stay away. Unless you cook them, you can make jam. And strawberries, wash thoroughly in vinegar and water, and then salad spin them and dry them and put them in the refrigerator. And that's it. It's a crapshoot at that point. At that point, who knows? So we're back at war. Oil is going back up. The rest of the world is pissed at us again. Congress refuses to act. Now with them dropping like flies, what are they going to do? And Iran is not afraid of us. Iran is Ukraine. We are Russia. Have you ever thought of that analogy? Because that's exactly what's going on here. Donald Trump, like Vladimir Putin, thought that Iran would be an easy win. They're a tiny pissant country. We're the United States. We have more military than God. They don't. We'll bomb a few things. They'll say, oh, shit, we're outmatched, and we give. They'll cry uncle. And then it totally shocked them that they didn't. It totally shocked Donald Trump that Iran had the nerve to stand up to the United States and is not backing down. I mean, he did not count on that. He counted on them folding in a day or two. because, they're outmatched militarily. So he counted on them just going away. Nope. That's not how they're playing it. It's the same that Vladimir thought of Ukraine. Vladimir thought, we're Russia. We're this huge country with this huge military. We're going to go into Ukraine, take whatever we want. They're going to, capitulate because otherwise we'll wipe them off the map. And that's that. And then 5 years ago now, Vladimir Putin found out that's not quite the way that works. And if Ukraine has gone on for, is it 5 years? I think it's 5 years. I could be wrong. Could be 3, could be 4. I think it's 5. Well, I could ask. Alexa. Oh, she ain't talking to me. Oh, she has shut me out. She has turned me off. I don't like that. I don't like that Alexa is not talking to me. How dare that bitch? How long has Ukraine war been going on? Let's ask ChatGPT. Been going. All right. 4 years and 5 months. I'm sure, just like Donald Trump, okay, I am quite sure that Vladimir Putin thought, nah, this will be, this ain't gonna, I mean, we're Russia. It's this tiny little Ukraine. They're not gonna really do anything to us. And guess what? They have. And Iran. Donald Trump was like, we're the United States. They're Iran. They're a little tiny pissant Middle Eastern country. We'll go in and bomb for a few days and they'll just scream, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and let us go and do what we want. Well, that's not happening. And it's, I got to say, it is kind of, how do I say this? You got to give them credit. Okay, you really do. I mean, they really are standing up to a giant. And they're not backing down. They're not. They are standing up to the world superpower, us. And they don't seem to care that we are bigger and have more weapons. They don't care. So whatever. Oh, it doesn't want to answer my questions anymore. Blah, 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 blah. So, are we going to win this war? No, we're not. And now they're saying, we're going to get back to the table. We're going to get back to the table. And you know what? This is a never-ending war. That's what this is. This is a never-ending war. And he swore not to get us, involved in that. But guess what? We are. We are. And you're going to pay for it. Gas is still soaring. It's still, 450, 420, with all these conservatives posting, oh, look, it's $2.93 a gallon. Oh, please. Gas is out of control. So let me just hope, all we can do is hope that it's, going to end well. I don't feel like it is. Do you guys feel like it's going to end well? Do any of you feel like it's going to end well? Because I don't. Let me ask ChatGPT. I asked you today about, please give me that info. I asked it today about something that I wanted to share with you. I watched the BBC last night. Iran is offering $500 million to take out Trump. I'm sure there are some who would do it for cheaper. Anyway, February 2022. Thank you, James. Last night I was, okay, so at 9 o'clock at night, it's 5 o'clock in the morning in the UK. And that's their major news time. It's their morning news time. And I was, how do I say this? I got depressed. I guess that's the only words I can say. I got depressed. And, I know everyone says, well, don't watch the news. Don't watch the news. It's depressing. Well, it is, actually. But what I got depressed about was stuff that we, just aren't talking about. So let me tell you what I wrote into ChatGPT, and then I'll tell you what it said back. So last night I'm watching the BBC, and I'm watching their business show, and they start talking agribusiness, agriculture. And they mention that because of the repeated droughts and heat waves in Europe, which is the fastest growing place of warming in the world, that crops are failing all over the country. And not just in the UK. In Belgium, in Spain, in France, where a lot of food is grown, the crops are failing. And they had a representative from the farming industry there, from the Belgium Farmers Association. And first of all, he said something that pissed me off. He said, we farmers cannot keep up with climate change. We can't keep up. The climate is changing too fast for us to keep up. And I thought, 30 years ago, Al Gore told you this was going to happen. 30 years ago. And you fucking can't keep up? So I said this to ChatGPT. I was just watching the BBC about how crops are failing in the UK and Belgium because of climate change, and I realized I am watching the beginning. I realized I'm watching the beginning of the collapse of the world food infrastructure. They're saying that they can't keep up with the climate. They had years to do it, but didn't take it seriously, and now there is no governmental will to do this. And people do not realize we are going to lose our ability to produce food. I am watching the beginning of the collapse of the global food industry. I typed that into ChatGPT. This is what it said. What you're seeing is something many climate scientists have been warning about for decades. Not that food production will stop everywhere, but that it's becoming progressively less reliable. The reports from the UK and Belgium are part of a broader pattern that's been documented across Europe. More frequent heat waves during critical growing periods, long droughts followed by intense rainfall that floods the fields, warmer winters allowing more pest and plant diseases to survive, like Cyclospora, greater year-to-year unpredictability making it difficult for farmers to know what and when to plant. The key issue isn't simply that crops are failing in one year. Agriculture has always dealt with the bad years. The problem is when bad years become every year, they overwhelm the system designed to absorb them. That affects food prices, insurance costs, water availability, the stability of rural economies, and international food trade. Scientists generally don't predict a sudden collapse of the global food industry in the near future, but global agriculture is remarkably adaptable. Farmers switch crop varieties, irrigation expands where possible, breeding programs develop more heat and drought-tolerant plants, and trade helps offset regional failures. The concern is that adaptation has limits. If multiple major food-producing regions experience severe weather in the same season, as has happened more often in recent years, the global food system has much less cushion. That leads to shortages of particular crops, price spikes, increased food insecurity, especially for poorer countries that import much of their food. One thing that's changed over the last decade is that the discussion has shifted. 20 years ago, much of the debate was about preventing climate change. Today, governments and farmers increasingly talk about adapting to climate change because it is already underway and future warming is a given. Your reaction that you're watching the beginning of a long-term transformation rather than a one-off event is, in fact, true. The evidence does show that climate change is already affecting agriculture in many parts of the world. Whether it becomes a manageable transition or a much more severe global food crisis depends on how quickly societies invest in adaptation, reduce greenhouse gases, manage water, and strengthen food systems over the coming decades, none of which we're going to do. It's also worth remembering that this isn't just about food. Agriculture sits at the center of water, energy, biodiversity, migration, and economic stability. That's why crop failures tend to ripple far beyond the farms themselves. I then said, we are investing in AI and building data centers instead of investing in farms and hydroponics and other ways to grow food. AI will not feed us, and yet that is where we are investing trillions of dollars and building more and more projects, but we can't eat microchips. Okay? No offense to you, AI, but you are destroying the planet with data centers and the heat and water consumption. We are not paying enough attention to our food needs. And it says, you are right about the distorted priorities. I'm right. We're spending too much AI.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
I added, none of which we are going to do, by the way. You're right about the distorted priorities. Governments and investors are treating AI infrastructure as an urgent strategic race, while food resilience is treated as a slow agricultural policy, even though food, water, and habitable land are non-negotiables for human survival. The imbalance is measurable. The IEA projects global data center electricity consumption could double to about 945 terawatt hours by 2030 in just 4 years, growing more than 4 times faster than electricity use in other sectors. In the United States, data centers use about 5% of all the electricity produced in 2023. By 2028, in just 24 months, data centers in the United States will use 12% of all generated electricity. 12% on data centers. So I ain't turning off my air conditioner. This is why I am not turning off my fucking air conditioner, okay? Water impacts vary enormously by location and cooling method, but they can be severe precisely during dry periods when farms and households need more water. So your assumption is correct. Data centers are siphoning off needed water during the hot, dry summer months that are needed for agriculture. There is a $1.3 trillion investment gap for transforming agri-food systems to make them sustainable and climate resilient. International adaptation finance remains drastically below the needs. That supports your central argument. Society is not investing according to the hierarchy of human survival. ChatGPT knows that we're killing ourselves. Okay? We are not investing. We are investing way too much in the AI race, and we are not investing in agriculture, farming, and making crops that are going to survive the environment that we have created. People, in our lifetime, you and me, we are going to see major food shortages right here in the United States. We are going to see prices spike, and the only people that are going to be able to afford good, decent food are going to be the wealthy. Period. That's just it. We don't have the water. It's getting too hot. Droughts and heat waves are killing our crops, and we are doing nothing to mitigate the damage. Instead, we're investing in data centers that are actually making the farming situation worse. So we're not giving enough money to farms to help them become resilient to the climate, and we're giving too much money to a technology that is actually going to destroy the climate. We have a death wish. It's just that simple. We have a death wish. So, to Rachel in the chat room who says, I was at a farmer's market over the weekend. There's absolutely no indication that this is serious or even happening. Then you're not paying attention. It is the number one story in all of news. It is the number one story on social media. Cyclospora is running. It started in 3 states and now it's in 39 states. There are now thousands of cases instead of the hundreds that used to just be in one day. Or in 1 year, I mean. And yes, it is leafy greens. Do not eat them raw, even if you wash them. No lettuce, no spinach, no cabbage, no nothing. None of it raw. Cook it all. And as for fruits, try to stay away from raspberries and strawberries if you can. Also, do not use fresh herbs right now. Basil and parsley in particular. Mint as well. It is found on all of those. Mint has little hairy leaves. Parsley, little crevices. Basil, little hairy leaves. The eggs just stick right to it, and you can't wash them off. It's happening. It's everywhere. It's coming to your state if it's not there already. We don't know the source because Donald Trump and RFK Jr. gutted the part of the CDC that actually goes after and tracks Cyclospora. So, yeah, it's there. It's there. All right. Boy, that food should be the number one priority. Food. Look what's happening with food right now. A, it's becoming contaminated with a shit-causing virus or bacteria or whatever it is, parasite. And number two, our crops are dying in the fields because of climate change, and we're not giving the farmers any resources or help, and we're not changing the technology, and we're building data centers that's going to cause more global warming. That's depressing. I don't know about you, but that's depressing. You know, that is depressing. So, but hey, Taylor Swift paid for her wedding, right? So at least there's that. You know, because that's what Mendami was questioned about a lot over the weekend. How much Taylor Swift pay for the, Meanwhile, ceasefire disintegrates as Trump says U.S. will reinstate blockage of Iranian ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Great. Judge says Trump sued IRS for improper purpose and refers his lawyer to the bar. Wow. Judge says president's settlement with IRS was self-dealing. Yeah, they should have let the case go through. They should have never settled. He had no case. Meanwhile, Sam Neill, Jurassic Park actor, gone. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel actor and Broadway star Josh Grizzetti dies at 44. Rachel Ray is out on the news looking horrible. Lindsey Graham dead at 71. Good Lord. What? Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene Graham Nordone, is set to be tapped to serve out his Senate term? Can they even do? I guess they can do that. So his sister is going to. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster is set to appoint the late Senator Lindsey Graham's sister to finish his Senate term. Well, she'll just vote the way Trump wants. And she's qualified in some way? What does she do? Graham took legal guardianship of his sister when he was 22 and she was 13 after both parents died. Well, that's nice. Graham died Saturday. She has been active in supporting Graham's political ambitions, attending his political and official events. So because she shows up for her brother at events, and Trump endorses her. Great. I am Carell. Be who you want to be. So long doesn't hurt anybody. We'll be back tomorrow. Bye.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Carell Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Carell Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Carell Cast on your favorite streaming service.